Good evening, everybody, and welcome here to the Sports Talk Network, and specifically here tonight, welcome to Steve's Wrestling Ramble. Welcome to all those that are watching live here on YouTube or also on my X at Army_Strong_06, or those grand listeners that I do see that we get more and more each week, each day. They're on Spotify for the audio versions, so you don't have to look at me; you'll just have to hear me, hear my voice. Anyways, like I said, tonight WrestleMania. Well, not tonight, but the PR predictions for the WrestleMania. There's WrestleMania 40 that is this weekend. 40s in a row of WWE action. SmackDown, night 1, night 2, Monday Night Raw. So it'll be great 4 days. And I know for my guest here, he's going to be able to put aside his NFL news and be able to just focus on World Wrestling Entertainment for 4 days, beyond his life too. But not have to worry about what the Buffalo Bills are doing or not.
God.
But anyways, before I keep talking about him without introducing him, let's welcome, I don't know, maybe the number one fan of Buffalo, Josh B. Josh B, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. And we were actually talking off here in regards to what happened with the Bills, and it kind of I just want to talk about like the Packers thinking that. Because he was mentioning in regards to the Bills and some of the Bills Mafia saying that they were just sick of the drama. That's the same thing how I and other aspects of Packer fans felt about when it was just time to go and get rid of and let him go of Aaron Rodgers. We were sick of him and his persona and his drama, and we dealt with it because we were good. We dealt with it because it was a chip on the shoulder, and we wanted him to use that in games.
Mm-hmm.
But then it just got to a point where, for some, not all, and that we're just ready to go because we don't need this song and dance. Different from the Favre situation, but still, we were just ready to march forward. As it looks like the Buffalo Bills are marching forward, and they're trying to be like the Chiefs. They're trying to be like the Chiefs in regards to the Chiefs proved that they can play without Tyreek Hill. Now, can the Bills prove that they can have a wide receiver core without Stephon Diggs? So we'll see. We'll see if they can mirror the Chiefs.
Let's see. I mean, the Chiefs struck gold last year in their draft with Rashee Rice, of course. With all the stuff that's going on with him, but they struck gold with him. Of course, they still had Travis Kelce. I think the world of the Chiefs, even though they're right now the Bills' biggest rival. I think the world of them, but. At the end of the day, the Bills aren't the Chiefs. They don't have Andy Reid and they don't have Patrick Mahomes, and I think those two together are the ones to really push the Chiefs to the Super Bowl. And they might go to the third. They might win the third one, but
now we move on. We focus and
we move on.
Wrestling entertainment. We talk about WWE. We talk about WrestleMania. This is going to be the biggest WrestleMania ever, right? As it's being promoted, the 40 years of WrestleMania. As we move forward from the McMahon era, the McMahon family era, here into the Renaissance era, and everything.
How crazy is that? How crazy is that this is going to be the first WrestleMania without a McMahon? I mean, there's still connections to the McMahons with Triple H, obviously, but how crazy is it that a McMahon family member, is not in WrestleMania this year? Doesn't have anything to do with WrestleMania this year. It's Paul Levesque. It's Paul Levesque.
It's the son-in-law only. In correlation through marriage, not from McMahon named.
There's no straight.
From their bloodline.
Yep. There's.
It's weird. It is very weird. No, I'm just going to say it's very weird because for us, that is our life, not just childhood, but life of Vince McMahon or Ray McMahon being in charge either on camera, in storylines or just backstage and corporate wise. So, it is interesting not having a McMahon, unless we have like last year and Shane returns. But
let me put this out there. Let me put it out there for everybody that's listening and watching. I'm glad that Vince McMahon is not going to be there. I think everything that Vince, everything that's coming out about Vince now, in the real world, in the real life, is absolutely disgusting, and I'm I'm glad that he's gone. I'm glad that he's gone, and I'm very excited to see what WWE does without him.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting, and I think the fact that this is gonna be the first WrestleMania without Vince McMahon, without the McMahon family, Triple H has big shoes to fill, but he also is setting a goal to make this, put his footprint on it, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
just not just his footprint on things after taking over in general when it was time to, and Vince McMahon needed to,
Mm-hmm.
but now for WrestleMania, the next WrestleMania after the changeover and all that, after this true TKO thing, and like actual, not the one with Vince McMahon, but
Mm-hmm.
now with Triple H and others, and another thing, and how NXT's been flourishing with Shawn Michaels, in his own world, So
Mm-hmm.
with Triple H overall, I think for me this is going to be big for me to see. What I'm going to be looking for in WrestleMania, beyond just enjoying the show as it is entertainment, but seeing what little things, the big things, Triple H tries to make his mark. I mean, he kind of already has backstage in other ways, and being able to be wrestlers be more free. But I mean specifically to WrestleMania. I mean specifically to the show of
Just to
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania.
What's gonna be different? What are your thoughts on that in regards to? Is there something that you're looking for, or that you care, or that you think needs to be done that's different that you want to see at WrestleMania, a new WrestleMania, a Triple H WrestleMania?
Hmm. I like the way that Triple H pays attention to the little things, and like everything on screen means something when
Oh yeah.
When Triple H is doing the writing or the booking or whatever you want to say it. I do I do think that I hope Triple H doesn't lean too far into that type of stuff. I do think I do think that Triple H believes that that WrestleMania is the season finale of WWE for the whole year, and then that very next Raw is the very next night is the beginning of something fresh and new. So I still think that he's going to focus a lot on the matches. I think he's going to focus on the storylines. It's not going to leave the little Easter eggs here and there. I think he's going to save everything. There, I did think of a possible surprise at WrestleMania. We'll go over it later on, but that could set up the next year
Hmm.
of WWE. So, but I really don't think I with I think it was Kevin Dunn.
Hmm.
Kevin Dunn. I think with him leaving, I also really enjoy the new like camera angles and less of the camera movement from
Hmm.
camera 1 to camera 3 to camera 5 to camera 2, like that constant motion. It's almost like motion sickness overload. And
Hmm.
I like that one steady camera. I like the shots of
Yeah, coming down the ramp, yeah, or
coming
something
down the
like
ramp.
after
Yep,
commercial or whatever, coming back from commercial.
coming out of Gorilla and going
Oh, that.
right through the back of the stage, like that is a cool visual to me. So I think I hope they keep those, especially for WrestleMania. WrestleMania is just a big show, and I want it to feel like grand in
Hmm.
style. So
I'm glad you brought that up because yeah, this is something I did notice, a lot, and been brought up like from the beginning with Triple H taking over, like brought up by fans, like who did you see who was in the background of a segment or something like that, or who was lurking, now everything
well,
being strategic in that way.
I saw the was it a couple weeks ago? Was it Drew talking to Paul Heyman
Oh yeah,
in
yeah,
the background? I
yep.
thought that was something was going on there. Something's going on there, but I don't know what yet. So
Or that one time when whether it was 2 weeks ago or whenever that was, after the Sami Zayn segment or whatever, and he was coming back and walked past Awesome Truth and DIY, I think it was, and they just
hmm
continued into the next segment, with the camera, it just went
oh yeah,
there,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then it started there, and then it followed Awesome Truth into through the gorilla into the for them coming into the crowd,
Yeah.
into the and then just going and continuing on the segment or the new segment, the next segment.
Yep. It's
You
just
know,
like a seamless.
that was weird, but it was also
transition.
cool to me, because I'm again not used to that.
Mm-hmm.
So
We're
those
getting to
things.
be the old school fans now. We're old school
Huh.
fans now pushing into the new school. It's really weird to think about that because I mean
Talking about what was, or how
well
things were back then.
I'm only 36 years. I just turned 36 on
Ooh.
Saturday.
Wait,
So
what's your birthday?
March 30th.
Oh, mine, like I said, April 25th,
Yeah.
and I turned 36, so we are pretty much the same age.
Yeah,
You're
we're the
just
same age.
a month or many days older.
Yeah,
But
I'm
anyways,
just a couple weeks older
keep
than you.
going.
But yeah,
Sorry, didn't mean to stop
so
you.
it's like at 36, I'm used to one way that WWE has been produced, and to see it in like this new style that is being presented, it's exciting because it's like, oh my gosh, after 30 some odd years of watching, we're getting something new.
I was going to ask you, since it is of our generation, right? Our era, being the Attitude Era and somewhat of the Ruthless Aggression Era, at least for both of us in regards to the high school years. But my point bringing that up is with this new era, with this new Renaissance era, as Cody Rhodes talked about with his interview with Ariel Helwani today. Was there any trepidation or issues with things that are changing? Like, did you have like I liked it the way that it was somewhat? I mean, as much as we're happy about Vince gone and all that and how things have to be, but was there any of, we're 36, we are of what we were used to, we are what we liked and didn't like. Was there any worry or trepidation of what was new and being like, yeah, maybe this part I didn't like, but that part I did, like if anything at all?
I don't think so. I think for me, like the change has a lot of it has been really welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't really I don't have any issues with anything. I think the change is very welcome. It's very fresh. It something different. Something different every time. And it just keeps growing. So well
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I was just wondering in regards to, because I know that just like anything from any era to era, right?
mm-hmm.
From the 70s, 80s era, what did they think of our era? From our era now to the next era, to the next generation. So,
It's so weird
when things
because
change over.
it's so weird because we're the stop between this new era of wrestling and the territories. We are that generation that it became national with the
Mm-hmm.
WWF and WCW.
Mm-hmm.
We are that generation where it became national. We're the stepping stone between the territories and where we're at now. There's three different eras there, and we are the one right in the middle. And I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty
No
cool to
way.
look back on that. I think that's pretty cool.
And as much as, we talk about, obviously, Vince needing to go and from the accusations being deplorable and indefensible,
Mm-hmm.
I do still, at least for me personally, I don't know about you, but still for me personally, I still say that, I still give, Vince McMahon his flowers and what was and what he did for the business and from the territories to what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's never going to die to me, and always be respected, because without Vince McMahon, would there be a WrestleMania 40?
No, there wouldn't be a wrestling as we know it.
Right.
Without
So,
him. So
as much as we're moving on from him and as much as we need to and do away with that, also, at least for fans, maybe not for WWE corporately, to, remember him a little bit in that way of the past, of the
mm-hmm.
Vince McMahon of the 90s and the 80s.
You can't look forward without looking back either.
Right. Agreed. So all that, it's an exciting new thing. That's why I'm most excited about what is WrestleMania, because like we were talking about, things being new, being different in the Triple H era, and what we expect or want to see from WrestleMania. We have all these matches. We're gonna have a night one. We're gonna have that tag team match, to be the main event. Then we have Cody and Roman night 2, and I get a little bit. I got more amped for WrestleMania. Listening to the Cody interviews,
Mm-hmm.
whether the past or today's, with Ariel. And just um, being a
I
big
didn't. I didn't see the.
Cody
I didn't
fan, as
see
they
the
say,
interview.
but it was fun. Yeah, no, it was great. I know I tweeted some videos from it on the wrestling handle at the Ramble _ WWE, but
Mm-hmm.
just little clippets, but from others, which I do appreciate them letting me use that to tweet out, but that they actually took. And he was talking about where he was when he heard about CM Punk coming back, that he knew before the event started there in Chicago. Um, he talked about how we might be seeing Brandy in some capacity, whether just a camera shot during the match or whatever. She'll be actually on camera for a moment in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he was talking about, he was on First Take earlier this morning, and um, talking about the we want Cody movement, and how humbling that was. And so a lot of things brought up, whether it's Ariel Helwani or whether it was um, his his stops at the ESPN shows in the morning. So either way, I kind of equate it with football. Now with Jordan Love as our quarterback, I could watch as many Jordan Love interviews. When I got to the end of the era of Aaron Rodgers, I didn't want to listen to him anymore in
Mm-hmm.
interviews. So, but here, in regards to Cody Rhodes, um, just how he is and all that, and the character too, like being a big fan of his. So enjoying the 4 hour and so of the interview itself, let alone the clips of it with Ariel was fun in its own right. But yeah, we'll get started here with predictions. Thanks for everybody that is continuing watching. Thank you. We're up to 14 right now, continue consecutively.
Whoa.
As we are watching live here on X or live on X and on YouTube. Again, also for those that are listening, be my listening audience. I know we already hit like 200 for the podcast on Spotify for views or audio downloads. So I appreciate that. It's actually doing better numbers than the NFL show, ironically. And that one was weekly during the season. This one's just for pay-per-views. But anyways, let's actually get into WrestleMania.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, here we go, Josh. We are going to be, well, good thing I stopped. Let's welcome our other guest here for the night. My, actually, a constituent in regards to the Rising Roundtable. But also I see Bruce and Eric. Eric, how are you doing this evening?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on. Can't wait to talk wrestling.
Yeah, great. We were already talking about, or we were just talking and rambling here at Steve's Wrestling Ramble, rambling about what was the Vince McMahon era, rambling also about the changes from the McMahon era to the Triple H era. So to ask you, your opinion, what are your thoughts on what has changed, what's been different since Vince had to go, and is there anything that you haven't liked that are changes?
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm a big fan so far of the changes. I like that Triple H is kind of going back to his NXT roots, if you will, and pushing guys who aren't just 6'6", 290, like we saw so much under the Vince McMahon era. We're kind of seeing, even as of the last few weeks here, Ricochet getting a push on Monday Night Raw, where we're getting talent that is some of the better talent in ring, and maybe not the greatest talkers out there, but we're seeing the talent really kind of get to start to rise to the top. And the new run of DIY or Regeneration X, whatever you want to call them, on Monday Night Raw.
Regeneration X. I like it.
The Regeneration X run as well, and just getting different spotlights for different guys who maybe would have gotten overlooked towards the end of the Vince McMahon era, and guys who have kind of stayed the test of time, even like the story on SmackDown with LFO and Rey Mysterio and or LWO, excuse me, and everything kind of going on there has been just a blast to get to take in. And the only thing I guess I could really say in terms of a different lens that I would want to see is I guess I just want to see it continue happening more, right? Like there's not really anything that I don't like of the current era. I like that they're kind of going back to, I guess, as they kind of get ready for the Netflix deal, they're kind of getting into the quote, the new attitude era, where we're seeing a little bit more blood. We're not seeing pointless storytelling. We're not seeing angles that are just stopping or coming out of nowhere. We're seeing stuff that makes sense. So I just want to see it continue. That's the only thing I want to see more of.
Yeah, it's good in regards to the Netflix, situation in regards to when WWE moves over there for Monday Night Raw and how things are going to be then. I know CM Punk brought that up, during his promo there on Raw. So yeah, looking forward to what that will be when we get to that point for WWE and the big Netflix deal that was made. Right, but yeah, but also I wanted to bring up here before we get into predictions. There is this now being brought up about Drew Gulak from Ronda Rousey in regards to allegations and all this stuff. What are you guys' thoughts on this Drew Gulak situation with what Ronda said, Eric?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I haven't really seen a whole lot of it. I guess I will say people are always going to suck, right? Like, there's not going to be you can't ever completely police people sucking and being shitbags. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that or not, but I'm going to.
Go ahead.
So, you're not ever allowed to. You're never going to completely rule it out. I think, that's the downfalls of human nature. We've seen it since the beginning of time, and hopefully one day we get to a point where it stops. So, without really knowing too much of the allegations, that's what I'll say. I don't hold it on Triple H or on the WWE culture as a whole. I think people just suck, and I think that's kind of where we're at on that.
Josh?
I just have a hard time with Rousey, man. Like, I really do. I mean, could it be true? It couldn't be true. I don't know. I've seen a lot from people on Twitter and just online that comparing her to the new, or making her the new Hulk Hogan, with the lies and whatnot. I think she had a bad run, and she may be starting to deflect the bad publicity there, I guess, or the bad press there. And she's also trying to sell a new book. So controversy creates cash. Hashtag Eric Bischoff. But I really don't know if it happened and Drew Gulak is a weirdo. Weirdos are gonna weirdo. But if it didn't, and it went down the way that Drew Gulak says it went down, then we also have to take his story into account too. So it's just something that I don't know. I don't know yet.
Yeah, same here. Let's welcome a friend of the show here. As you see down there, you heard the doggy barking there. Chief Cashola, or Josh. How you doing, Josh? You there?
Sounds like he's a robot.
Oh, shit.
You're an AI robot.
God damn it.
I can hear that dog perfectly, though.
God damn it.
Yeah, he comes in clear.
Of course. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yep, can hear you better.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Connection issues and all that good.
That's all right. How you doing in general?
I'm doing well. Yeah, everything's insane as usual, but I'm excited for WrestleMania.
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to cross around to you, and then we'll finally get the predictions. But your thoughts on this new era coming from the McMahon family era now to the Triple H era, heading into this first WrestleMania with Triple H in charge. What are your thoughts on the changes and the many aspects of it? And is there anything, from coming from your era, our era, that you see that you might not like as much in regards to changes, if any?
I think it's been a long time coming. I mean, we all knew Triple H was the heir apparent to the WWE kingdom. I think this should have happened a long time ago. And I mean, not just because Vince McMahon is a piece of trash, a human piece of trash. We know that. But I think creatively, he was still stuck in his old ways. He still had a lot of thoughts and ideas that weren't necessarily with the times. Triple H was more forward thinking. And so who knows what years we lost out on of having more quality programming than we've been getting lately that we could have gotten if Vince had been able to put his ego aside and put Triple H in charge fully. But I mean, we knew that wasn't going to happen unless he was forced out or he died. So
Could you guys?
thankfully,
Could you guys imagine Bray Wyatt under Triple H?
Yeah, I mean, so many storylines could have been better. So many wrestlers could have had better careers, better futures if just given the opportunities that a real professional wrestler like Triple H understands. And because it was Vince in charge, I think a lot of guys got shafted, and Bray Wyatt is a good example of that.
Yeah, I think I don't know if any of you guys have seen. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, I think it's a natural progression for the company. You know, a lot of us grew up with, you know, the golden era, the silver era, the attitude era, and we made it through. And of course, there were always people like, I liked it better when I was little, and da-da-da-da-da. But the fact of the matter is the product is still stacked with really talented men and women. And as long as you have someone at the top looking out for the best interests of the company, that's not going to change. And we've definitely got that with Triple H.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if any of you guys have seen the new Bray Wyatt documentary. Came out, I believe, Monday. We got a small taste of it, right, with the Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy and where that was going. We got a small taste of it before injury and ultimately COVID, which shortened obviously his life, and condolences to his family on that. It's very tough to watch documentary on that aspect, kind of knowing what happens, but in the sense of you kind of see where his creative mind was going on things and how he operated behind the scenes and the way that Triple H and creative was just kind of running with it. And they're going to say, do what you got to do. We got a new look at what the Fiend was going to be as Bray Wyatt, as the Fiend was going to be when he would have come back if he would have had the opportunity to do so. To take on Uncle Howdy, to take on, you know, LA Knight and all competitors, it would have been just so interesting to watch. And it's a shame we won't get to see it in the full original version. I think, you know, I don't want to spoil the documentary too much for people who haven't seen it, but I don't think the story's completely over, is what I'm going to say out of that. But if you haven't seen it, it's a great piece on Peacock, and it's just too bad that we didn't get more of it.
Yeah, I agree. It was tough in regards to watching that specific part of it, in regards to talking about his day and everything and what happened, and all, you know, tragically and sad. But overall, the documentary I enjoyed highly, and recommend to those that haven't seen it yet, go take a watch to that, just as much as the Roman Reigns one for about him. But yeah, what could have been, and for Bray Wyatt if Triple H took over earlier, and for others, I think there would have been some that may not have left WWE when they did if Triple H took over then. You know, we wouldn't, in regards to the massive cuts and all that back then for near the end of the McMahon era. But yeah, either way, again, like I said, thank you for those that are watching live. We're going to be heading into predictions now, and for those that are in the chat, you're welcome to share your predictions here. Nice to see 24 strong of people watching, whether you're on X or on YouTube, you're watching in the chat. Just share your own predictions. We are going to start with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits facing off against Final Testament in a 6-man tag team Philadelphia street fight. So we'll be starting with that one. It's certainly going to be an interesting match for us to start off, and we'll start off here with Joshy B with your thoughts and predictions for this one.
I think the Final Testament has to win this one. I think the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley don't have anything to gain from a win here, so I'm going to go with the Final Testament.
Eric?
Yeah, I'm going to echo that. I think the story tells itself better should Street Profits and Bobby Lashley lose, and kind of seeing how that would play out as opposed to them winning. I don't think really anything kind of comes of it. I think if Street Profits and Bobby win, no one really gets over. Like, yeah, they win a match, but who cares, right?
Mm-hmm. And Josh?
I'm going to agree with everyone so far. You know, WrestleMania is about ending storylines, starting new ones. And Street Profits and Bobby Lashley, they were already a little bit more established than Testament was, so they're going to need that push coming out of a victory at the biggest show of the year.
Well, then here for our four horsemen right here, I'm going to go with the same as well. I'm going to go with the Final Testament to get the win here. I don't care how it happens, who gets the pin, all this blah, blah, blah stuff, but specifically Final Testament to get the victory there. Next match we have up Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee, the newest member of LWO, and Rey Mysterio representing the LWO, facing off against Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio there, the Judgment Day. This time we'll be starting with Chief Joshua. Josh, what is your prediction for this match?
Yeah, I know everyone wants to see, the kid get his comeuppance. They want to see Rey Mysterio, now one of the old men of the WWE, go into WrestleMania with a victory. But he's had that. He's had a few of those. So, you know what? Why not let Dominic get the win? Why not let the bad guy win? Because sometimes that's how it has to happen in pro wrestling, especially at WrestleMania. And what a moment it would be for Dominic to get a win at WrestleMania over his dad. If he's going to truly elevate him into this new era of wrestling, because how many more years does Rey Mysterio have? How many victories does he need to cement his legacy? He's already a Hall of Famer. So give it to the kid. I'm going to go with Judgment Day wins.
Eric?
Yeah, I'm going to go on the opposite, though. I'm going to disagree with you on that. I think the story, for my viewing pleasure, I think the story tells itself better if Judgment Day is going to continue losing and continue to losing ways to create more division. And I think if Dom's going to go over on Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania, it has to be one-on-one. It shouldn't be in a tag match like this. I think this kind of wraps up that story of the LWO divide, which I think Rey has to go over on that and kind of get the final word on it. So for my sake, I think it's going to go that way. And I think we're going to see one more kind of a retirement match, like a hair versus mask at WrestleMania next year or something like that, or the next couple of years at some point. Dom versus Rey, if he's going to continue being a heel. Or maybe they'll tag up again. I don't know exactly where they're going to go with it, but if they're going to have that match and have Dom go over, I think it has to be like a retirement match for Rey, and that's not going to happen this year.
And Joshie B.
Oh, God. Legado del Fantasma and Judgment Day. I don't know why. But I just think that Rey Mysterio doesn't need it. But I also like Legado del Fantasma, so that's why. Go win it.
There you go. And for me, I'm going to go with Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio for the win here, and maybe having Dom pin his father. I don't know, but either way, I have them getting the win. However, it does happen. Next up, we have LA Knight strictly here, one-on-one match. LA Knight, AJ Styles. So LA Knight versus AJ Styles, one-on-one here at WrestleMania. Joshie B, what say you here for this battle?
Let me talk to you. It's going to be LA Knight. He's just way too hot right now. He's coming from SummerSlam all the way up on through. You don't have the hot hand lose. You ride that hot hand. So I'm going to go with LA Knight. LA Knight is the winner for sure.
Eric?
I'm gonna go with the heel here. I think AJ Styles has a lot more. He has to kind of build back up and be seen as a credible heel if he's going to go that route. I think LA Knight can afford the loss at WrestleMania if they go that route. So I'm thinking AJ Styles gets the win. I would like to see it because I think at some point you kind of have to cool LA Knight off just a little bit to kind of continue his story, whether it's going to be going for a world title, whether it's going to be going for like a mid-card title, but somewhere along the lines you have to kind of figure a way to retell the story out with him. And I think that's a WrestleMania loss to AJ Styles.
All right, Josh?
I think if Vince was still in charge, I would say AJ Styles is going to win. But I think Triple H is more in line to reward people like LA Knight, who he's seen has been a super hard worker this year, has been making the rounds, doing the interviews, doing all the other stuff that a performer needs to do outside of the ring, those intangibles that make someone a superstar.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to go with LA Knight getting the win.
All right. And for me, I'm going to go with LA Knight as well to get the win. I just think he's being so hot. In regards to, from SummerSlam on, and I just feel that I think AJ is the one that can actually take the loss and be fine and okay. I'm not saying it's going to crush LA Knight, but I just think it would be more detrimental to the LA Knight character and the AJ Styles for me personally in regards to taking the L here at WrestleMania. I will be going with LA Knight.
Eric, you're the lone wolf. You're the lone wolf. You got to give me the howl.
And coming up next here, we have the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship 6-pack Tag Team Ladder Match here for said WWE undisputed Tag Team titles. I know we heard the rumors, and it seemed like the announcements in regards to the general managers and what might be happening after WrestleMania. But as of right now, for WrestleMania, they are still linked together. They are still undisputed Tag Team titles. But we do have the Judgment Day of Finn Balor and Damian Priest against the Awesome Truth, The Miz and R-Truth, DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, New Day representatives, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. We got the new team of Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. And, of course, Pete Dunne, the returning Pete Dunne, for a while now, and Tyler Bate there with their tag team. So those are the tag teams, and that is the match. Josh, what say you in regards to this for the undisputed tag team championships?
Man, I mean, this could go so many ways because there's so many good teams in here. I mean, I love 6-way tag matches because it reminds me of the old TLCs when we thought 3 tag partners were too many. But there's just going to be so much chaos in that ring, and then you add on that it's a ladder match too. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm just going to go with my gut. The very first team that I thought was going to come out of the win with this is going to be the New Day. It's been a while since they've had championship gold. They were really successful with their run, and if we're all about kind of restarting, I think New Day is poised to do more new things since they've been kind of out of action for a while as a traditional unit. So I'd like to see them started off with a win.
Okay. Eric?
I want to say Austin Truth so bad. I think it'd be the ultimate story to go with them, not letting R-Truth into Judgment Day and being the one that, like I said, I think we're going to see a lot of tension with Judgment Day this weekend. And I think there's going to be a lot of title losses and a lot of like I said, just pandemonium with that group. I'm tempted to say DIY, though. If I'm actually making a pick, I'm going to say DIY because I don't think Truth and Miz need the belt, but I think it would really solidify. And you guys talk about Triple H rewarding guys for their careers or rewarding guys for a hard year and working hard all year. And who else but Ciampa and Gargano really kind of embodying that, as the NXT guys that they were and kind of fighting through the cuts and coming back on Gargano's part and just everything that's kind of come with that. I think getting to hold those titles at Mania would be the ultimate payoff for that and kind of put a bow on and kind of give them their flowers. So I'm going to go DIY as much as I want to see Austin Truth. I'm going to make a bonus prediction, though. I think we're going to see a 7th team come into this. I don't think it's going to be the Hardys as much as I want to say that, but I would not be surprised if there's a Team 3D making an appearance.
Oh, there we go.
I'm not certain that's going to happen, but it's got that feel. It's Philadelphia, the ECW, arena's just next door. We know that both of them are going to be in town as part of the Busted Open WrestleMania show. How great would it be to see Team 3D get the tables out for a ladder match, make an appearance, have that moment, not go over. They don't need to, but that's my bonus prediction.
Yeah, I see you. Yeah, nice. That'd be really cool, and especially if this is going to be part of night 1. A great moment beyond what we're going to have for the main event for night 1. But no, that's awesome. Joshy B.
Okay, so I think they're going to split up the titles. I think they're splitting them up. One's going to go to Raw. One's going to go to SmackDown. I think the Awesome Truth wins one. I don't know which one yet, but The other ones, I think A-Town Down Under are going to win it. So I think they split them up, and we're going to have two winners. But the real winner is going to be us fans, because now the tag team titles will be split on both brands, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I would love to see that in regards to the split, in regards to the tag team, all that. But specifically in regards to this match, specifically and one winner, my prediction will be A-Town Down Under. Grayson Waller, Austin Theory to get the win here in this match itself, to get what is still the undisputed tag team titles. And then then it'll be split up, and hopefully it'll be Goldie, Awesome Truth, or otherwise, for the other brand. But yeah, Waller and Theory being the tag team champions, taking over to SmackDown. The Awesome Truth, and they might have a tournament for it. I don't know, because again, this match is specifically for the undisputed title. So, for whatever happens afterwards, will be in its own separate thing. So they might even do a tournament heading into France. So, in Backlash. So I think for me, specifically for this match, we're going to get Grayson Waller and Austin Theory becoming the new undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. Because if they were going to do something for WrestleMania that would have two separate belts, I would hope, think, and pray they would have done it by now. So,
I think there was a missed. Somebody missed a line on Monday night. I think Michael Cole said, it was either Michael Cole or Pat McAfee. I can't remember who it was.
I think it was
but they
Cole.
said that you know what I'm talking about. The excuse me, all titles have to come down for them to be the winner. So I think it's going to be the two separate titles, and they're going to be like, "Oh my God, what's going to happen here?" It's like, all right, we know.
Right.
Know.
For being a surprise thing, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yep.
Surprise, not surprise, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just thinking of it in regards to as it's constructed right now. But no, that's fine too. And if that's the case, then I definitely agree in regards to who should we get one titles with Austin Truth and the Grayson Waller Austin. I really have enjoyed that tag team more than I thought I would with Waller and Theory. And that's why, in their short time as a team, really I actually enjoying them as with the Grayson Waller effect in Perth, Australia, with that show with Cody and Seth there, just their chemistry, no bounds. It seemed pretty awesome, like a good combo there, and working well together as a team, and whatnot, on camera and all that. So for that, that's where my official prediction goes. But if it is the split up and all that, heading into it, or the morning of, some kind of announcement by the general managers in a YouTube video or a social media post. Either way, I do see them being tag team champions of some sort. But either way, it'll be a fun match. That could be match of the night. All right, moving forward, that could be match of the whole WrestleMania. Maybe not. We do have the other great main events. But the Battle of the Brothers. We got Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso, going one-on-one at WrestleMania 40. And, I'll go first here for this one. And I'm going to go with Jey Uso. With Jey Uso to get the win here, in regards to taking out the Bloodline one by day one. It's going to start with Jey defeating his brother Jimmy. Might be shenanigans during it, but either way, by hook or by crook, Jay's going to get the win. Here's the face. But this is my thoughts. What say you, Eric?
I'm going to say yes, yeet. Give me Jey Uso in that match. For my money's sake, I think the story that they're telling is that Jimmy is trying to get in the way because Jey could never do it on his own. And that was what was said during that Intercontinental Championship match against Gunther, where he was about to get the 3 count. And Jimmy didn't want Jey to do it on his own. I think this establishes Jey on his own, even more so than he already is. I think he's firmly enough established, but I think this really puts that whole thing over, that he can be, on the singles side of things. And depending on how the rest of the weekend goes with what ends up transpiring within the Bloodline and what's left of that faction after this weekend, we'll see. But I really would like to see, I think Jey goes over here and gets the win and does it in very convincing fashion. And kind of puts that story to bed, at least in the one-on-one sense.
Okay. Josh, Chief Tortola, what do you say you? Josh?
Can he hear you?
All
I
right,
think we lost him.
go ahead, Joshy B. What say you for the Jay versus Jimmy?
I'm going Jey Uso. I mean, this dude has put in some work. He is kind of gone off, done his own thing now, and now let's bring this storyline between the two full circle, and let's just have the good guy win. Let's have the good guy win. Come on now. That's my pick. I want Jey Uso to win.
I respect that. You there, Josh?
Yeah, we'll try this again.
All right. Well, what's your prediction there for Jimmy versus Jay?
I think the consensus is Jay, and I'm going with Jay. He's had such a successful singles run. He's proven he can do it. I mean, Jimmy has really been an afterthought with his association with the bloodline. He's not really the singles competitor that they're making Jay out to be. And he's the one who's going to have the stronger story. I think the bloodline's going to take a lot of L's this weekend, and rightfully so. I mean, that's how you destroy a faction that's been that dominant and that powerful. Is you have to break it up wholesale. So the whole thing has to crumble. You can't have one member of it come out a victor and then the main guy not, which I think is what everybody sees happening come Sunday night.
All right. So I think you're onto something here. And it starts Friday night when Jay goes against Solo Sikoa.
Mm-hmm.
And on Friday night, I think Jay is going to win that one. He's going to go Saturday night, win that one. And then the rest of the bloodline crumbles from there.
Yeah, the whole thing. And then Paul Heyman, of course, abandons, Roman Reigns, as he is wont to do when the person he's representing loses. And that's fine, because that's who he is. That's his character, and that's okay. But how that's going to happen is going to be the interesting part to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. All right, moving forward, match not part of the bloodline. We got the Intercontinental Championship match where we have Gunther going 1-on-1 with Sami Zayn. Here in this battle, we'll start with Josh. Josh, what do you see here for the Intercontinental Championship?
I love Sami, and this Rocky 3 montage that they did on Raw was fantastic. I thought it was great. Him training at the Alpha Academy, and that whole thing was great. It was fantastic. But I mean, Gunther is also a guy who has grown by leaps and bounds since his time in WWE, and I think it's way too early for him to drop that belt. I know he's had it for a minute, but not to a guy like Sami Zayn. I love Sami Zayn, but I just don't see Gunther losing to him at this time.
Right, Eric?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I cannot picture Gunther dropping this belt at WrestleMania to Sami Zayn. I don't think there's enough of a story there, right? I think Chad Gable is probably going to interfere and actually cost Sami the match in some capacity, whether it's going to be a direct disqualification or some sort of heel turn. I don't know what's going to contain it, but I think they're going to try to protect Sami as much as they can while also making it very clear that Gunther is the winner and still the reigning superior champion. I think there's a lot more story to tell with Gunther as the Intercontinental Champion, and I don't think it's going to happen at WrestleMania for Sami.
All right, Joshy B.
It's so weird to think that we're all going to go with Gunther here, but I'm going with Gunther as well. And I think the Intercontinental Championship has now been built up to be something grand again. That it has to. Gunther's going to have to lose it to somebody that's an up and comer, and not someone who's very well established like Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, he can do his own thing without any championship right now. Would it be cool if Sami won? Yeah, of course. But I think that we hold off. Gunther wins, and then later on down the road, maybe SummerSlam, maybe Survivor Series. It goes to maybe a Chad Gable, or maybe it goes to Otis for all we know. But I think there's something to that Rocky type montage. Maybe Sammy is like the Apollo, and he's going against Ivan Drago and Gunther, and then at the end of the match, he's gonna have Sammy's head in his hand, like, oh no, what's going on? And he looks over at Gunther. It's like, you're next. Okay, I'm on to you now. So I think that could be where they're going with it. But I mean, that's my armchair booking.
I respect that. For me, we're all going to go with Gunther. Gunther to retain his Intercontinental Championship. Should be a good match, but I don't think see Sammy getting the win. Even with his own story here. I don't think it'll be able to get it done, but I do think it'll be a fun match in its own right.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have.
Just real quick, I was just saying, you said it best when Sammy doesn't need a belt to kind of do his own thing, tell his own stories, and kind of go from there. With guys like Sammy, and for that reason, LA Knight too, I think the reason that they don't get the world champion opportunities is because the chase is better for them than the actual reign would be. And I think that's the exact same thing we're seeing here, even though they didn't really develop this story as much as they could have. I think we're kind of seeing that build up with Ricochet. Not that he's going to be the one to take over from Gunther either, but I think when you kind of get an organic build like that, the chase is more fun. We saw it with Kofi. We saw it to a lesser extent with Daniel Bryan, but we get that so much in wrestling where, this organic build happens, and it's like, okay, well, now what? And that's because of how they've built up the Intercontinental title. If this is for like the U.S. Championship, fine. Like, yeah, give me Sammy in this exact type of situation. But from what they've done with this belt and making it matter again, it can't be Sammy because there hasn't been enough story, there hasn't been enough detail to it. And if you're gonna have such a prestigious title, it can't be about the chase. It's got to be about the win and the reign that would follow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how things are going to move forward for Sami Zayn. What's going to be next for him after WrestleMania. He was lost. But who knows? Maybe he'll team back up with Kevin Owens. And speaking of Kevin Owens, the next match we have up is also with a wrestler that I've enjoyed since he came into WWE, honestly. I didn't know if I could trust him as a WWE wrestler. I didn't think he was going to take it seriously. His personality didn't rub me the right way heading into his start with World Wrestling Entertainment, but he's earned my respect. He's earned a championship now, and he has a new contract, and that is Logan Paul. So we have Logan Paul with his United States title here in a triple threat match against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens here at WrestleMania 40. Eric, what say you? Who do you see getting the win here for the U.S. title?
The same aspect, I don't think that the U.S. title matters for Randy Orton. I don't think it matters for Kevin Owens. I think they're in, for storytelling purposes, they're in the fight because of what happened at Elimination Chamber. They're in the fight to have a fight. They're not in it for a belt. And to that aspect, I would say I think Logan Paul is the perfect heel and the perfect WrestleMania moment to have him win and retain on his second title defense. I can't foresee anybody beating him in that one. Especially when again, kind of the same thing. It's two guys who don't really need a belt to continue with storylines or continue with whatever's going on. This is, I just can't foresee one of them taking it off of him, especially with his first match in the Prime ring, which I think might end up actually being our opening match of WrestleMania Night 1. I think that's going to be a bonus pick I have here as well, because we're going to get that Prime sponsorship, and it'd be the perfect time to break that out with Logan Paul coming to the ring and retaining that title.
Yeah, I almost forgot completely about that. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because I know there was that segment that, I was talking all about at the moment, but forgot since. And yeah, starting at WrestleMania and all pay-per-views moving forward, Prime, I don't see the WWE ring becoming like the UFC ring with all sponsorships, but at least one, and that being with Logan Paul's company, with Prime. But anyways, moving forward with predictions, Joshy B, what say you for this triple threat match?
I'm going the Maverick. I live in Northeast Ohio. He's from Cleveland. I'm going the Maverick. I think he's just all around cool. Don't get me wrong, Kevin Owens and Randy Orton are great as well, but this is a new era. I love Logan Paul. I love his attitude. He's the perfect heel like Eric said, Logan Paul it is.
Excuse me. And Josh.
Yeah, I mean, Logan Paul is not made for guys our age. You know, I'm 45, and my son is 9, and he loves Logan Paul. He watches wrestling mostly because he wants to see Logan Paul. I mean, he's for the YouTube generation, and that's fine. And just like you said at the top of this segment, he is a really good professional wrestler. And one of the hallmarks of being a good professional wrestler is people hate your guts if that's what they need you to do. And so he does very well at that because of who he was prior to entering this ring. But he's also extremely gifted. So, you know what? He's a good athlete. He's put in the work, clearly, and the in-ring work. He's not a Ronda Rousey where he's just going off of his famous name and then he goes in there and makes a fool of himself. No, he actually is a legit good professional wrestler. So, yeah, he's going to retain.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Logan as well. Logan Paul's to retain his title. Doesn't matter who he beats. I just see a big moment for him. Probably even we'll see KSI again in the match at some point, if not at the end. But either way, Logan to retain. I look forward to him probably holding the title all the way to SummerSlam. If not, well, maybe not to next year's WrestleMania. It's not Roman Reigns, but for a while, I still see Logan Paul being the champion. He's earned it. He's earned my respect. He's earned many WWE fans' respect in regards to as a wrestler, respecting the business, doing his best to try to be better, already having OMG moments in WWE. So for that, tip of the cap to him and look forward to the continuation of the reign that is Logan Paul as the United States champion.
So far, we've only had one. Excuse me. I think we've only had one championship change hands throughout this whole thing. All 4 of us have had one championship, and that's the tag team titles. So far.
Yep, so far. Yes, exactly. So far.
Just wait.
It's crazy.
Just wait.
There's 4 but there's 4 of us, and all 4 of us have picked Gunther. We've picked Logan Paul. It's like,
just real quick, and we start when I jumped on the show, and it's kind of been the topic of conversation. I think that's very indicative, though, of the Triple H era of wrestling, that these titles mean something. Like, I don't think we're going to have every title be, setting new records of title reign length like we have seen with Roman and with Gunther. But, I think a critique of the Vince McMahon era towards the end of his time, the mid-2010s even, you were seeing title changes so frequently where it almost didn't matter. I mean, you could look at like New Japan and Ring of Honor at that time, where those titles meant something. You'd see, guys hold a belt for years on end, defending them more frequently than we say maybe like Roman Reigns, but we'd see them hold those belts for years on end and make them matter and make them mean something, and then make the fall and the new title holder have to earn it and really mean something when that changes hands.
Right. Well, and even like there's a difference with the Vince McMahon era was the United States. Look at Dean Ambrose's United States Championship run. Okay, he held the belt, but he never defended it. And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh well, you're going to have a match now as the United States champion. And you're gonna either, if he won, it was great. But then like if he lost, it's like, okay, well, whatever, you lost. It doesn't that title obviously doesn't matter. So the differences are night and day. You're right.
Indeed. And we talk about championships, so we'll see. We have different predictions here for this next title match as we welcome here Jay of Talking WWE with Jay. We have the Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley going up against Becky Lynch. They're 1-on-1. So let's start with if Jay is there. Jay, welcome to the show, and welcome to just already jump in here, giving your predictions in regards to Rhea Ripley facing up against Becky.
Oh, hold on, Steve. Can you hear me clear, or is it an echo?
No, I can hear you. Jay? I can hear
you. Steve, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. How do I sound? Do I sound like an echo?
No echo. You're fine.
Okay. All right. What's up, guys? Josh,
What's going on, dude?
Guys. How you guys doing?
Okay, what match we're on, Steve?
We're on Rhea versus Becky for the women's world title.
Yes. So Rhea, Becky. Becky. I guess Becky and Rhea has not fought 1-on-1 unless it was way back when, and I don't remember. But Becky's here. She's the best runner-up to fight Rhea at WrestleMania to give this match some type of It's definitely Rhea Ripley. Rhea's so over right now. There's no way she's dropping the belt. I do think we get a good match out of Becky and Rhea. Of course, we know Becky can fight and she can go. So it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting. But there's no doubt it's Rhea Ripley.
All right. Josh.
Yeah, I agree. I think Rhea's going to retain, but I do think we're going to see a different side of Rhea. If you notice in her matches recently, she's kind of been having fun with them, almost like these aren't a challenge for me. I'm just kind of rolling through the paces as I get to WrestleMania. So I think Becky is going to bring something out in her where she's forced to really exert some effort, and there's going to be a fear of her losing. And that's going to be the story as they have their inevitable rematch. And it's going to be, oh, yeah, you almost got me. But, I was just able to get it out of you just a little bit longer. So, but yeah, Rhea's still going to retain.
Eric.
Yeah, I think I've said a couple times early on, I think the Judgment Day is going to take a lot of losses this weekend. Kind of like what both Joshes have said tonight about what's expected for the Bloodline. I think Rhea's going to be the one to retain, though, for so many reasons. Then I think it's just not the right time to take it off her. Same thing with Becky. She's so good. She's so talented and doesn't necessarily need the belt to continue on with things. I think kind of a build, whether it be for like a rematch or she goes to the back of the line, has to kind of earn her way back to it. But I think story-wise, I think it's going to make a lot better Judgment Day split if Rhea's the only one who ends up this weekend holding gold, which is consistent with what I've said so far. And I think she's going to be the one to come through in the biggest moment and really cause that divide within that faction.
All right. Josh AB.
I think Becky is going to win via disqualification. And I think and Rhea's gonna retain just because of champion's advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dominic gets involved somehow. I think there's gonna be a disqualification. Becky wins, but Rhea keeps the belt.
Respect that. For me, I'm just straight up going Rhea Ripley gets the win over Becky, probably with Dom interference in some way, non-physical, of course, and just distracting Becky for a split second or whatnot, and Rhea taking off guard, so getting the win. So I'm going Rhea Ripley to retain. Moving forward, the next match being the other women's title, the WWE Women's Championship, with Io Sky versus Bayley. And again, we'll start with Jay. Jay, what are your thoughts here with Io versus Bayley?
Yeah, not much to say. I mean, the Royal Rumble win for Bayley was great. Didn't think that was going to happen, but it was good for Bayley, and she needed it. Head into WrestleMania. This is all Bayley for me. Damage Control will not have a good night. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good match. Maybe some help from Damage Control, but somehow Bayley will conquer Damage Control.
All right, Joshy B.
Well, I was at SummerSlam last year when Io Sky turned in her Money in the Bank. I'm gonna go with Bayley. I think it ends the story well. I think it sets up, a little bit more with like Dakota Kai possibly. Yeah, I'm going Bayley wins.
Right. Eric.
Yeah, Bayley's going to take this one. I think the main prediction is whether or not the hugger section is going to come back and the wacky waving and flight of Lehrman. For that prediction, I'm going to say they don't, as much as I think it would be kind of fun. But I don't foresee that happening on this one. But I think we're going to see a probably the best version of Bailey we've seen in quite some time since those days. A determined Bailey, a Bailey against all odds that we kind of saw when she was, going against like Paige and Sasha and Alexa Bliss, where no one really took her seriously, and she's gonna have to overcome that. And this time, she's overcoming those numbers that is Damage Control and the Kabuki Warriors. So give me Bailey, kind of channeling that same energy of the Huggers, but not embracing it fully with the gear and the song.
And Josh.
I think so often pro wrestling titles can be about an audition and how well do you do as you hold that title. Do you perform well in that role, or are you kind of lackluster and does someone else need to jump in to kind of kickstart it? And as talented as Io Sky is, I don't think she brought the same kind of attention that Bailey did or does. So I think Bailey's going to take it.
I'm going to go here with Green Street, going with Bailey as well. Here's our second prediction of a title match going well, non-retained. Someone being a new champion, and we're going to have Bailey here with everybody's prediction going, becoming the new WWE Women's Champion moving forward. And our next match being for the World Heavyweight Championship. We got Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Man, this time we'll start with Eric. What do you see here with the World Heavyweight title match 1-on-1?
Yeah, this is probably the one that I really don't have a pulse on, that I really don't know. I think it makes a lot of sense for Seth to retain it. I could also, I very much see Drew taking advantage. I think whoever wins, I guess I'll make my official prediction. I think Seth does win. Actually, no, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to say Drew wins. I think Damien's going to try to cash in on him. And whether or not he does so successfully is going to be the question. Just kind of keeping consistent with what I've kind of thought throughout, I think if Drew does win, I think Damien might cash that in successfully. But I don't have a whole lot of faith in that. But I think if Seth wins and Damien tries to cash in, then Seth will retain twice and really just kind of ultimately deflate Judgment Day. But yeah, I have no pulse on this one. I could foresee this going both ways with that kind of turning around that way. I think it's a terrible way to do the Money in the Bank on that side. If that's the route that they would go, I don't know. I don't, like I said, I don't know. And I think that's the best thing that could happen is Sunday night's going to be a lot of fun to watch that, because this is one that I don't have a strong feeling on. And I think I would love to see Drew McIntyre have his WrestleMania moment he got robbed of a few years back. But I love Seth as champion too. So give me Drew to win, but I'm here for the chaos either way.
I see that. Respect that. Jay?
I'm with Eric. I don't know. This one could go either way. I heard it. I seen something on the internet, and I don't know what you guys think. I think CM Punk is right. He's going to be at the commentary table. And they said, what if CM Punk, make sure. So if Drew wins the match, CM Punk makes sure the cash in doesn't happen. Kind of going on Eric's theory. Because CM Punk wants to be the man to beat Drew and, to keep that story going. Because maybe somehow he gets involved. Seth, it does make sense to keep Seth. He's so over. He's so hot. Does he need it? It adds to, his character for me on Raw and everything. But I'm going to go with Drew. I think he's going to have a tough night 1, and then come night 2. I think he should be, pretty banged up. And I think Drew will capitalize on that and win and let him know you should have listened and paid attention, to our match and what we got going on. So I think Drew wins. I hope Seth retains. I won't be mad. I'm sure none of us will be mad if Seth retains. But my official prediction, I'll go with Drew McIntyre. The videos he's been posting, the workout videos, it all makes sense for Drew to go ahead and just get the championship.
All right. Joshy B.
Well, I think we're, a couple of us have already said something along the lines of Seth is going to be banged up because we're forgetting that this match is going to take place on night 2. The night one main event has Seth Rollins in it, so I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre. And almost a straight up beatdown. I think that's the whole thing with The Rock and Roman Reigns is going to take a toll on him physically, and there's gonna be something. Like I think Jay said, you should have listened to me. You should have taken me more seriously. You didn't. Now look, I have your championship. So Drew McIntyre.
All right, and Josh.
Yeah, I mean, Drew McIntyre is the one who's been doing well. I think after they had to pivot after Punk's injury, and Drew's really stepped up in that role. And I think that's the feud that people want to see. They want to see these two guys fight. And so you have to, and there has to be stakes to that. It can't just be, well, we're going to fight because you said some mean things about me. Especially with CM Punk, there has to be stakes involved, and nothing would make that matter more than if Drew McIntyre had the title that CM Punk wanted to take off of him and really make that inevitable match sometime next year worthy of something.
Agreed. I'm going with Drew McIntyre as my official prediction. Wouldn't be mad though if it was Seth Rollins, but Drew has even stated in his promo tonight, as kind of also brought up here, getting to win in front of fans and in front of the arena, and then being raised to the championship and winning and all that fanfare with it. So Drew McIntyre for the win. So another new champion here in the predictions. The next match will be the main event of night 1. And that is here the tag team championship. We have the Final Boss, The Rock, and Roman Reigns facing up against Seth Rollins, World Heavyweight Champion, and Cody Rhodes here in this tag team match. Jay, welcome to give your predictions first, and also share your thoughts in regards to now The Rock being back for this time that he will be back.
Oh, Steve has been great. The Rock has been on television for like the past month. I think, him being part owner, TKO, he's getting himself really involved in this feud. And it is really making it feel like which is the biggest tag team match ever. I think this will go down in the books. As far as, so that's about The Rock. As far as the match is concerned, I think it's going to be a lot going on, but I don't see it any other way but giving the win to The Rock and Roman Reigns. You got to have that main event, bloodline rules, so you got to have Seth and Cody go down. People have been hearing Cena's going to come out and Stone Cold Steve Austin's going to come out. It's going to be a stare down with, Stone Cold and The Rock. It's going to be a lot going on. I think it's going to be a lot of course, the Bloodline's going to be out there, Solo. So if he comes out, that gives a reason for Cena to come out because he has unfinished business with Solo. So that makes sense. Jimmy and Jay, I don't know if they'll come out, but it's just going to be a lot. But somehow, some way, I think, of course, The Rock and Roman gets this. And I think Cody Rhodes will take the pin.
All right. And, Josh.
I mean, as soon as they announced that they were going to have 2 matches and that if they win, the second one's going to be a bloodline rules match, we all knew that they were going to lose that first one. I mean, you can't, it's the checkoff gun rule of writing. You can't introduce something like that and then not pay it off. That's the whole point. So I think we know that they're going to win night 1, and that's just going to make the victory night 2 all the sweeter. And what will be interesting are those intangibles. Like, is The Rock really going to turn on Roman Reigns? Or is Cena going to come out? Or somebody else come out and interfere in some kind of way so that they get the victory? Those are the things that I think we're really going to be looking for night 2. Night 1, I think we all see that Rock and Reigns are going to get the win.
Eric?
Yeah, this is another one of those where I can make it make sense in my head either way it goes. I'm gonna say that I think Rock and Roman are going to win night one, and I very much foresee Cody taking the pin and Seth being beaten down so badly that he can't even try to make a save. I think this match may kind of fall short because I don't think The Rock has the stamina to really help out, and the in-ring stamina, I should say, and Roman, I don't know if he'll have it for back-to-back nights, so I think he'll be kind of on the lesser side of things, but Rock kind of gets to let it all hang out, so I guess we'll see how that goes. I think to an extent they're also going to try to be extremely careful to not have Cody or Seth get legitimately hurt. I think that would be the worst case scenario, especially for Cody, if he gets legitimately hurt night one and can't win night two, or can't participate or compete at a high level night two. I will say just for booking sense, in the aspect that if they should win, Cody and Seth, that is, win night one and have it be like a true no bloodline interference match, I think that opens a lot of stuff up, to where even I think Triple H might get involved, and I'll talk about that in a little bit here, with the Cody Roman match for the title. But for this stipulation, I think it has to be bloodline rules to make the most sense, and I think especially for that that conversation, I'm going to go Rock and Roman.
All right, then, Joshy B.
Rock and Roman. I think the if we really want that Avengers Assemble type moment, night two, it's got to be bloodline rules. So I think Jay is going to get involved. I think Sammy may get involved. I think a couple of maybe Cena and Austin, perhaps. Who knows? And Seth Rollins will get involved somehow. But I think there has to for there to be that Avengers Assemble moment. It's going to be a bloodline rules match. So Rock and Roman for sure.
Same here. To see with my Cody American Nightmare hat here, always cheering him on. But I think I've got to get myself ready for the loss, especially if he takes the pin from The Rock. If The Rock is the one to get the pin too, I think that could even build in regards to the build for Roman and Rock, WrestleMania 41. But Rock is the one that beats Cody, but then Cody beats Roman for the title, even with the help of the Bloodline trying to help him out in the Bloodline rules match, but he still couldn't beat Cody. Second time, all that, building for their match next year, right, in Mania. But yeah, Roman Reigns and The Rock in the win at WrestleMania. I have enjoyed The Rock's entrance as it's changed a little bit each time, but having that Hollywood Rock theme is a nice memory lane in its own right. But yeah, Rock and Roman Reigns to win here, and yes, that takes us finally to the final match here. Almost an hour and a half in. We have the undisputed WWE Universal Championship match with Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Will he finish the story for Cody? It's a time to be the champ. John Cena talking to Cody after WrestleMania 39 and saying, now to, even after, taking the L and all that and doing what's best for business and doing the job, to now moving forward, heading into WrestleMania 40, to be the champion without the belt sort of thing. And he's done well with that this whole year. He's earned it. He's shown it. He is the one there all the time. He is a workhorse in his own right. He is Cody freaking Rhodes. And I think it is time for him to finish that story. So for my prediction, going first, right off the gate, we're going with Cody Rhodes to get Cody Rhodes to win, become the champion. We have the Rhodes family in the ring. After the match, that's when we're going to see Brandy. We might even see Dustin. But we're not going to see Dustin during the match. We might see him after, so he technically will be on WWE TV, but not in any wrestling capacity. Just as a brother. And probably mentioned on commentary, but by Pat McAfee probably. But either way, it's time. It's time for the story to end. Time to finish the story. Time to move forward. Time to having a champion that's there. And Roman Reigns can do whatever he wants. After that, I don't care. But but for me, I'm going with Cody Rhodes to become the champion, and we march on into with this Renaissance era with a Renaissance era type champion. From what he was when he left WWE, when he came back. Last year I thought it was a done deal. He's going to win then. Didn't happen. But now he signed a new deal, multi-year deal, continuing with WWE. So yes, Cody Rhodes to be the champion. Time to move forward. And then it's going to be Cody's world that we're living in, and that's going to be fun in its own right. So, officially predicting Cody Rhodes to win said title, and I look forward to everybody else's prediction in regards to the craziness. For me, just thinking, everybody's going to be out there. It's just going to be in a way, a shit show of booking, but it's a fun shit show for us all to enjoy, whether in a nostalgic reason, if you've seen it in Austin come out, or just in general of how the story has been told by Triple H and by WWE and by the athletes themselves, Cody, Roman at the front of it. So anyways, before I keep rambling on, Eric, what say you? We have the undisputed WWE Universal Championship match. Is it time to finish the story?
It absolutely 100% is time to finish this chapter of the story. I am going to go back to what I had just said real quick and say that should Cody and Seth win night one, I think you're going to get some Triple H interference because we all know how Roman's title defenses go when it's straight up rules. The Solo or Jimmy or The Rock gets involved and they do it behind the referee's back after the referee takes a bump, and then there's disqualification or should have been disqualified and doesn't end up happening, and Roman retains. I could very much see Triple H getting involved as an on-screen boss, kind of saying, hey, The Rock, you might be on the board of directors, but I run the show. This isn't happening under my watch. Kind of like we saw Vince McMahon get involved against Cena or with Cena and CM Punk, among other times that he got involved. I could see Triple H kind of getting that because, if you remember back to the introduction or the WrestleMania press conference at Vegas when The Rock is backstage going full Karen mode, he said to Triple H, you better fix this. You're lucky you're not cleared. And Triple H said, you're lucky you're not cleared either right now. And I think we could very much see Triple H get involved in a very limited physical role that way too. But going with my actual prediction of, I think that we are going to see Bloodline rules. I think you're going to get that Avengers Assemble to the point where even Seth Rollins had the Iron Man look a couple weeks back on SmackDown with the red and the gold and everything with that. But I don't know who's going to come out. I think to an extent they want to keep, if Cody's going to win it, I think it has to be somewhat relatively clean. Which I think a lot of the Avengers Assemble is going to be more or less on the sidelines, for lack of a better term, around the ring, not in the ring, to where it's going to be Cody gets across or hits a couple crossroads and wins it clean, and gets to hold the belt. Whether or not it's a long reign, I think is up for discussion. If we're going back to the world of Dusty never had to have the belt long. It was more about legitimizing the fact that he earned it for that time being. And it was, I said earlier with Sammy, it's more about the chase than the reign. But I think for Cody, it's more about the reign, as short or as long as it may be. It's not going to be, another 3 years of a new champion before a new champion. But I think it's going to be a very impactful championship reign for Cody Rhodes. And I'm very excited. I think what a lot of wrestling fans are fearing right now, and I think would be great storytelling, but also kind of lazy, would be should Cody win and then, Damian Priest tries to get that cash in, and kind of that same story of, Dusty got to hold the belt but never got to really hold it per se, or he didn't actually earn it. I could see that kind of going that way. I'm not going to predict that because I don't think it's going to happen. It doesn't make sense. But that'd be definitely more of a chase versus reign. And the storytelling of even Damian versus Cody is not great. So I'm just throwing it out there because I could see a possibility of it happening, but I think it's going to be Bloodline rules, and I think it's going to be Cody finishing that story and ultimately getting a great match and having that clean title win.
Jay.
Yeah, you gotta finish the story. Roman Reigns, shout out to Roman Reigns though. He has carried the company for so long, and making him the next John Cena, and being that ultimate heel, and getting the bloodline development going, and making everything so good. So respect Roman Reigns for that. The championship reign, one of the longest in history. So when you mention all the greats and how long they've held it, you mentioned the Hogans and Cena's and stuff. But Roman probably would be on that list now in our modern day era as far as dominant champions. I don't think he needs to win this match and go to, I think it'll be September to pass Hulk Hogan's record and all that, because at that point it'll be prolonged. At this point, you give it to Cody Rhodes, because if you don't do it now, it'll all be a waste of time. Cody Rhodes has to win this match. I agree with Eric, and I'm sure we all can say that lots of interference is going to happen. Rock, Austin, Rock, whatever, whoever. But it's going to be a good one, Steve, like you said. It's going to be a good night, regardless of what happens. But the end, we want Cody Rhodes to, like you guys said, get that clean win as a babyface, the top babyface in the company, top merchant seller. You got to put the title on him now. It'll be fresh for feuds, and Cody will be that defending champion that we want, because Roman defends it when he needs, and you can do a lot with that, with having Cody on Raw full time, doing a lot with that belt. I think Roman's next steps will still be good, and it'd be great for business. He does not need the title to go against The Rock next year, or whatever he's going to be doing for the remainder of the year. Of course, he'll get his rematch, perhaps Backlash. They can do that, but ultimately, yes. But it's Cody Rhodes.
Josh.
Maybe.
Joshy B.
Cody Rhodes does not lose this match. No, Cody Rhodes is going to win. It's going to be the end of the story. I don't think it's going to finish the story, I should say, not end the story. But I think that it sets up Rock versus Roman at either SummerSlam or next year's WrestleMania. And no title needs to be involved with that. So, and I don't think Damian Priest cashes in on Cody Rhodes. Maybe not at WrestleMania, but I don't think he cashes in that night. I think Cody may hold the belt for a very short amount of time, with a cash in maybe Monday, the Raw after WrestleMania. After 2 straight nights of wrestling matches, and he's got to have a third one on Monday night. I think he might lose there, but that's besides the point. Cody Rhodes will win, quote unquote, finish the story. Roman goes off, does his thing with The Rock. Cody might just he might have a short reign, he might have a long reign, who knows? But it's definitely Cody Rhodes' night.
Yeah, Josh.
I think we lost him.
Chief Josh, are you there?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. If you're still there, you're welcome to share your prediction for the main event.
where titles mean something and it's not just a matter of them changing hands for the sake of changing hands. But along those same lines, they do have to matter. And you can't tell a story like this and then just cut everybody off at the knees. And you can tell a more compelling story by having Cody win. And the interesting part, even though as pro wrestling fans, we watch enough of these matches, you can see where the writing is on the wall. A lot of times we can correctly predict what's going to happen for a variety of reasons. And that doesn't make it any less of an enjoyable product. So even though I think the general consensus is that Cody's going to win, and I agree with that, the interesting part is, how is he going to win? What's going to happen on the way to that title victory? Who's going to interfere? Who's not going to interfere? What shenanigans are going to take place that make it seem like that Avengers ending where all hope looks like it's lost and he's not going to finish the story. And then somebody who we don't expect is going to grab Mjolnir and start, beating the shit out of everybody else. And you have these surprising moments because that's what pro wrestling is about. It's about those moments, most especially at WrestleMania. So that's what I'm excited to see. I don't care that we all know Cody's going to win. I just want to see how he wins.
Joshy B.
My hand is raised for a surprising moment that's going to come out of nowhere. MJF is going to show up with that Avengers Assemble moment and help Cody Rhodes win. I don't think so. I'm just just thought it would be cool.
Open.
That would be such a cool moment because we don't know if he's still signed with, or if he re-signed with AEW. He could make his WWE debut at WrestleMania 40.
Yeah, it'd be wild.
That would be wild. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be wild for sure.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna see something that surprises everyone, I think it's more likely. I'd see a Solo Sikoa turn on Roman. I think that would be the one that would be the most entertaining, just to see. This is the guy who has made it so Roman could keep the title all those years or all this time, and kind of get his own payoff in the long run, but also kind of be the one to kind of really break up the bloodline. And a big thing with you keep going back to Dusty, even though he's not here, and it's Cody's own story, and I think we need to get his own story. But Dusty was always a big guy on kind of reversing the finish from last year, and I think that would be kind of an interesting route to go with it. Would be if Solo ends up being the one to really kind of drive the final nail into Roman and say, hey, you're the one that lost.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Josh predicted it, that Dwayne beats Cody, but Roman can't. And I think that's going to really kind of tell that next story as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, either way, it's gonna be a great show. It's gonna be a great main event. Night 1, night 2. This whole card, it's gonna be wild. Part of me wishes it could be all one night, but then again, that'd be 8-hour show, so I get it with 2 nights. But still, it'll be an interesting Saturday, interesting Sunday for sure. We got SmackDown, then we got night 1 WrestleMania, night 2 WrestleMania, Monday Night Raw, the new season of WWE, the Raw after Mania. And that's its own predictions, right? What's going to happen on the crazy, wacky night after Mania with returns, or maybe that's when we see Alexa Bliss come back.
I hope so.
Maybe Bliss and Carmella come back the night after Mania. Maybe that's when we see the Hardy Boys not at Mania, but on Raw after, or something with the tag team title situation. However, whatever happens there. Or that MJF thing, that could be then instead of at WrestleMania. I don't know. Either way, Monday's going to be just as wild as Mania itself. But Mania, I think, is going to be monumental because this is Triple H's first WrestleMania in this new era, with him being in charge of day-to-day operations in a sense for the shows. So it's going to be a fun one. Thank you to everybody that's watching live. We had at one point a concurrent of 70 viewers. So that was awesome. It's been a while since I've seen that, but I have absolutely seen a lot uptick for our listeners on Spotify. So again, if you're on Spotify, search Steve's Wrestling Ramble. Ring that bell so you know when audio is posted there and uploaded there, just as much as videos here on YouTube. And of course, I'm at Army_Strong_06. But let's let all the guests share their final thoughts. Also, a question to everybody around the around the horn, around the table, to ask while you're also, letting people know where they can find you and all that other stuff. What do you think is going to be your personal match of the night heading into the show, let alone what it will be after said show is done? But think of that. But again, your match of the night, and just promote your stuff. We'll start with Jay of Talking WWE with Jay.
Yep, Twitter is at Talking WWJ. I'll be live tweeting and all that. I think you guys are. Oh, Steve, I don't know if everybody on here is in that chat on Twitter, but
Yep.
to get you guys' handle, and we'll have fun that night. It's going to be a big night. Both nights are going to be big. I'm excited for the brand. It's growing, with Triple H being in charge, and like you said, Steve. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, so I'm excited for both nights. I'll be watching for both nights. I'm hoping, I don't know who said it, but Rock and Roman, I hope that is at SummerSlam, because Steve, if you guys should know that SummerSlam is in Cleveland this year, and that is my hometown, so I'll be attending that event. So hopefully they do that again.
Hey, I'm about an hour south.
Who's
down in
out?
Youngstown.
Oh, Josh B. That's really close from where I am. So yeah, I'll be down there. We're going to be down there, and I might do a predictions tomorrow. We'll see. And but yeah, it was fun giving predictions out on the show, Steve. Again, thanks for having me on, and all the guys on the panel.
Hey Jay, heading into the show, what would be your match of the night that you would predict to be the match of the night for you?
How can I forget match of the night? Just night one or both nights?
Either one, yeah, of the whole card.
For night one, I'm gonna go Rock and Roman. Of course, that tag team is gonna be, I think, that's crazy. So, even though the Rock is not gonna be able to do a lot of slamming and stuff, but maybe some more strikes and just more, weapons for him, to take it easy. But I think the tension that it has right now is high anticipated. The people want this match. I want to see this match sooner than tomorrow, Saturday. But
right,
that's fine. Night two. That main event. I mean, how can you not go to the main event? I don't want to seem like, oh, you're just picking the main event. But
that's all right.
I think Cody and Roman is going to do a hell of a job. I think Cody's going to sell any injuries, and Roman will be a little banged up, but not as much. And I think the match will give us time. I think it's only 6 matches scheduled for night 2. So each match, night 2, should have enough time for good wrestling.
All right. Josh.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I know it's been a while. I retired a few years ago, so it was kind of nice to just kind of lay back and enjoy life, not have to move around everything, and not have deadlines or anything like that. So I kind of like it, but it's always fun to kind of jump back into the fray and talk about this stuff with you guys. So I appreciate the invite. I think the match of the night is going to be Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and our YouTube celebrity. I mean these guys all make for fantastic moments, and you've got so many different skill sets and so much a vast amount of array of experience in the ring. Starting with Randy Orton and going to Logan Paul. So I think we're going to see something pretty fantastic with those 3 guys.
Eric.
Yeah, my 2 matches of the nights. I think if you're not saying the main event night 2, you're not watching wrestling. Like this is the exact build up. This has been the best WrestleMania build in probably 20 years. That's not even a hot take, if not longer. So that's gonna be my match of the weekend, without really saying much. But kind of runners up, I think that 6-pack ladder match is going to be really good because you have so many different stories, you have so many different teams involved. I think Jimmy and Jay are going to tear the house down on the one-on-one match as well. So as a whole, I mean, this is probably one of the better WrestleMania builds all the way around. So I'm very excited for the whole event. But those are the 3 I have my eyes on. As for following along, you can follow me individually on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I don't split hairs on that. It's Big E BIGE WDUZ for the call letters here in Green Bay that I do a lot of my media stuff for. You can also find my podcast that I was actually recording just before I joined this one. the Root for Wisconsin show, a lot of Wisconsin content, Wisconsin football, Wisconsin basketball, high school, pro, college, you name it, it's all there. We also, for whatever reason, I never knew this was going to happen, but we got really big into the indie pro wrestling scene here in Green Bay and surrounding area. So we go to indie shows probably once every couple months, if not more than that. I do want to shout out Raging Pro Wrestling here, RPW in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Just had a main event of Rampage Santana versus Ken Anderson, aka Ken Kennedy. Just the cards that, shout out to Rich Buchholz and Mike Merck, who kind of put all of that together. The cards that those guys can build is phenomenal. They always have TV talent. Some of the matches I've seen there, I've seen a dream match of Chelsea Green versus Deanna Purrazzo here in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This summer, their next event, June 1st, that's going to be in Waupaca, Wisconsin, is going to be a main event of Ken Anderson versus Chris Masters. Silas Young has made his fair share of appearances. This fall, the one I think that's, while we're just talking Bloodline, they have another show coming up in November where the main event's going to be Ken Anderson versus Zilla Fatu, the son of Umaga, who Umaga's last WWE match was against Ken Kennedy, or Mr. Kennedy. So kind of a dream match for both of them as well, that they get to square off as Zilla begins his pro wrestling journey, really relatively new in that scene. So shout out to RPW, but yeah, Root for Wisconsin podcast, as well as Big EWDUZ on Twitter.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely want to talk to you about that in regards to indie shows and that company there. For myself here being in North Central Wisconsin, but no, that's awesome. Josh B, last but not least.
All right. Well, you were saying something about the build to WrestleMania being the best in 20 years. I'm going to take you back 12 years ago to Once in a Lifetime, which actually became Twice in a Lifetime. I was there. This was probably one of the best build-ups in the past 12 years. But I think the match of the evening is or the match of the event. I'm not going to go with the best wrestling match. I think that's going to go to the triple threat: Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul. But I think I'm going to go with the most memorable, and that's going to be the main event, especially if Cody Rhodes wins. I think it's not going to be about the match. It's going to be about the moment, and I think that moment is going to be one for the ages.
Agreed.
And you can follow me on Twitter at JoshBrown06. I talk a lot of Buffalo Bills football. I don't want to talk about Diggs anymore. I'm sad. I'm very sad about that.
I've seen that. Wow.
Yeah, so that's not good. I talk a lot of Buffalo Bills football and New York Yankees baseball. So, along with WWE. So.
Oh, the fireworks.
I got some fireworks.
Look at that.
The pyro.
That's awesome. In regards to me, I would say, number one's going to be the main event with Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for the championship. Hopefully, Cody Rhodes finish the story and get the win. But number two, I would actually say being that multi-team ladder match. I think that's going to be great, especially if they Down Under win. And if there are more than two titles, right, as Joshie B was talking about, what could be in regards to heading into said match and being like, oh my gosh, what's going on, sort of thing, and then all that, surprise, not surprise thing. But either way, it's going to be a great show, and as we've been talking here for almost 2 hours, about this show and predicting the show and otherwise, that this is shaping up to be a very good, if not great card, and I have a feeling that at least I would say 70 to 80% of the WWE universe is going to have favorable thoughts to say after the match, no matter who wins or loses said matches. I think overall, the entertainment value and just the card itself will be grand. It'll be awesome, and it'll be fun to see how everything goes and how the stories move forward from there, heading into Raw and otherwise. Thanks for everybody that watched live here and on X. Those that listeners on Spotify and on Spotify, just search Steve's Wrestling Ramble, and also search Talking Packers with Steve. You can see my whole season of last season for Podcaster with my co-host AJ, who's from Ohio. as well from Cincinnati, Ohio. His family is, but he goes to college in Florida. But anyway, thank you to all the guests here, Josh B, Eric, Chief Joshua, and Jay of Talking WJ.
Yes, sir.
Great to have all the guys here. A guys' night here talking wrestling, and look forward to those that weren't able to make it to be my guests for next week, which will be the review of said WrestleMania and go over what happened on Raw and SmackDown after as well, and all that in between. Hope everybody has a great rest of their evening. We got a lot of wrestling to watch here heading into the weekend and WrestleMania itself. Now, above all else, as always, take care.
Have fun this weekend.
Let's go.